Demand for Liquidation, March 26, 2023. By Anna von Reitz. As additional information and proof of unlawful activities by members of the Territorial Congress, owned and operated by DoD, Inc., we provide you all with a brief summation of their illegal and immoral activities designed to promote perpetual war. Our states of the Union are not in favor of perpetual war, and we have no intention, desire, or obligation to fund any such activities. This is not provided for in any treaty, service contract, or constitutional agreement. This is not authorized by our country or our states or our people. These are the actions of self-interested renegade municipal corporations that must be liquidated immediately. They are bent on creating endless war for profit, which is itself a profoundly illegal, unlawful, and immoral aim. The U.S. operated as a commercial corporation needs to be permanently liquidated, and we request that the ecclesiastical law be strictly and immediately applied to put an end to all of these rogue District of Columbia municipal corporations on a permanent basis. The illegal and immoral 2011 NDAA and all associated legislative actions undertaken by the Territorial Congress, including their authorization for use of military force, are predicated on known lies told to the people of this country and upon usurpation of authorities never granted to any Territorial Congress. These acts as further described herein, in sum total, need to be repealed, and anyone occupying a seat in the Territorial Congress needs to be made aware of that necessity and the extreme limitations of their position. All but nine sitting Territorial United States Senators failed their duty to preserve the peace and honor their contractual limitations and obligations. The 9 who should be allowed to continue in territorial office are Rand Paul, RKY, Mike Lee, RUT, Edward Markey, DMA, Bernie Sanders, DVT, Ben Cardin, DMD, Mike Braun, RN, Elizabeth Warren, DMA, J.D. Vance, RO, and Tammy Baldwin, DY. The rest of the so-called U.S. Senate needs to be removed for unlawful activities, including impersonating the American Congress and failure to perform according to contract. In our opinion, all District of Columbia, municipal corporations and all related franchises need to be liquidated on a permanent basis as organized crime syndicates that promote war for profit, and which have usurped against the America states and people who are their employers. These criminally inclined commercial, service, corporations have deprived their employers of their contractual rights and guarantees under color of law and have posed a constant threat to all peace-loving nations. We quote the Bailiwick News summation of illegal, immoral, unlawful, non-consensual and misrepresented actions undertaken by these charlatans, beginning with the 2001 false flag they committed on our soil and against our people. In September 2001, under the fear cover provided by 9/11 and the anthrax attacks, another layer of national emergency, state of war, global war on terror, was put in place, through the Congressional Authorization for Use of Military Force, AUMF, and George W. Bush's Proclamation 7463, Declaration of National Emergency by reason of certain terrorist attacks, promulgated under the 1975 National Emergencies Act and renewed every year since. Those were quickly followed by the Patriot Act in October 2001, the establishment of the Department of Homeland Security in November 2002 and the expansion of biomedical police state programs for the next 2 decades through the PrEP Act, Project BioShield Act and more. By 2019, they wanted to take even more direct control, were prepared to risk just a bit more exposure, and had put more pieces on the board to centralize more power under public health emergency conditions. So in 2020, under the fear cover provided by COVID-19, another layer of control went into effect, through the January 2020 determination that a public health emergency exists, HHS Secretary Alex Azar, and Donald Trump's March 13, 2022, Proclamation 9994, declaring a national emergency concerning the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19, outbreak, also under the 1975 National Emergencies Act. Also renewed every year since. And being positioned as a global war on humans susceptible to communicable diseases, translation of the global health security agenda embedded in World Health Organization regulations and treaties, and U.S. federal programs. See Section 5955 of NDAA for FY 2023. This is not our American Congress. These are not public officials entrusted as fiduciary deputies. They have not been elected to public office at all. These people have been operating as rogue municipal corporations and promoting self-interested commercial agendas, in the name of our government, our states, and our people, when they have no natural right, no granted authority, and no consensual contract to do any of this. The U.S. Senate members who have voted to continue the war on everything forever need to be arrested, and the warmongering municipal corporations they represent need to be liquidated with no further ado. We are faced, and the whole world is faced, with a clear and present danger resulting from the rogue operation of these municipal corporations, which have no natural right to exist and which have violated every aspect of every treaty and service contract to which they might otherwise appeal. They have even violated the use permits that allow the existence of the District of Columbia and the Municipality of Washington, D.C. Let us all put an end to this, as quickly, amiably, and responsibly as possible. The offending commercial corporations need to be liquidated. The British Territorial United States military forces of occupation need to be withdrawn from the states of the Union, and their unauthorized military districts and military district courts, May 1865, need to be shut down. These same forces of occupation need to be withdrawn from the former Commonwealth nations, Japan, and Western Europe. The assets naturally belonging to the states and people of each nation-state need to be returned to their lawful governments, and those governments must be assisted in organizing their public elections without further deceit or obfuscation. Like the Raj in India, these British territorial forces have illegally, fraudulently, and without granted authority insinuated themselves into positions of trust, which they have consistently violated. The substitution of private commercial corporation elections for public elections, the promotion of war for profit schemes, the nearly constant attacks against other nations in the name of defending of the United States municipal government, should be sufficient grounds for the ouster and liquidation of these municipal corporations, even without their long history of violent racketeering and impersonation fraud. Even without these multiple and explicit acts of legislation, which prove beyond any reasonable doubt that illegal war profiteering is at the heart and bottom of their commercial profit motivations, these municipal corporations deserve liquidation. We merely present the additional evidence so everyone can see how they have contrived to promote a constant state of war, as means of creating unjust enrichment and employment opportunities for themselves. Notice to principals as notice to agents, notice to agents as notice to principals. By Anna Maria Riesinger, Fiduciary, the United States of America. In care of Box 520944, Big Lake, Alaska 99652.